Welcome to the Flora Sage Podcast, a place where we help you create a life you're excited about. Today I want to share with you two stories that I feel will motivate anyone. I know when I heard them, I was like, oh my God, I have to hear that again. So recently I listened to a seminar with Bob Proctor, and Bob Proctor is a really powerful speaker. He's a motivator, and he's a teacher of all things prosperous. And so I want to share with you these two stories, and then I want to lead that into something else. So the first story is about a little boy who is in his yard playing baseball with himself. And he said, "I'm the greatest baseball player in the world." And he throws up the ball and he swings and he misses. And he says, "I'm the greatest baseball player in the world." And he throws it up and he swings and he misses. He says it for a third time. I'm the greatest baseball player in the world. And he throws it up and he swings and he misses. And then he shouts, "I'm the greatest pitcher in the world." And I was like, what a beautiful way to shift the way that you're thinking about something. Going from I'm the greatest baseball player in the world, throwing it up, swing and a miss 3 times. Then he gets even more clear and shifts his perspective and says, I'm the greatest pitcher in the world. How beautiful is that? When I heard that story, I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. That is so epic. So the second story that I want to share with you is about this gentleman who purchased 10 acres. And he was mowing it for the first time. And when he was kind of in the back part of his land, he was mowing it, his neighbor comes up and she walks up to him, and there's this horse in her yard. So he gets off the mower and he walks up to her and he leans on the fence and he's like, ooh, because the fence was wired, it was hot. And she's like, oh my gosh, I totally need to disconnect that fence, because when we first got our horse, all he wanted to do was bust through this fence and go into your yard and all this other stuff. And so he's like, whatever. So they finish talking, they go about their day. And then the next day he's driving into the neighborhood and he sees that same horse in his neighbor's front yard. And he's like, oh my God, the horse is loose. So having some experience with horses before, he gets out of his car and he walks up to their front yard when he realizes that there's actually one single strand of baling wire that's going from the house to the tree, to another tree, to a post, back to the house again. And he's like, out of curiosity, he touches it and it's not a live wire. And he thought to himself, he's like, I bet that horse, which was very capable of jumping over it or pushing that wire over, he goes, I bet that horse thinks that this wire is hot. So he is fenced in. So I want you to think about both of these perspectives, okay? I want you to think about when you look at boundaries or barriers in your life and things that appear to hold you back. Do you test out those boundaries or those barriers? Do you test out the parameters that have been set or appear in your life? Or do you just stay with the status quo? How many of you are fenced in your mind? How many of you are thinking that you're a horrible baseball player because when you toss it up, you swing and you miss it, and that's it? Just as that kid changed his mind, causing him to say, I'm the greatest pitcher in the world. You can do this for your life too. So I want you to start looking at the boundaries that you have. Actual physical boundaries, like the one for the horse, and also the boundaries that you have in your mind. One of the things that we're talking about this month inside of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe is we're talking all about boundaries. We're talking about what are they, why we should have them, what happens when we don't have them, but then also how some boundaries can hurt us and how they can hinder us, how they can help us and how they can deter us. So when you allow yourself to start looking at your life, start looking at your job, your career, your finances, your relationships, your health, all the things, I want you to start asking yourself, what boundaries do I have in this area of my life? Like, what boundaries do I have for my weight? Because I've heard some people say, oh, I've never been able to lose weight. That sounds like a boundary that's in your mind that you're not willing to test out or cross, or look at alternatives. Look at other ways to look at weight. Maybe you're in debt and you're like, oh, I've always tried to get out of debt and nothing's ever worked. Okay, again, that's a boundary. That's a parameter that you have in your mind, this fixed boundary, that when you can give yourself permission to just kind of nudge it a little bit and say, does this boundary still serve me? Is this like legit? Or can you be that kid and shift the perspective and say, okay, so I'm learning these lessons. I've learned the wisdom of debt, or I've learned the wisdom of weight. Now I'm ready to learn the wisdom of being financially independent, or being financially stable, or having a healthy weight and a healthy mindset, or having healthy relationships, or whatever it is. Give yourself permission to reflect on what you have and permission to shift the thoughts. Now, as I mentioned, inside of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe this month, we're digging into boundaries. We're digging into how they can help us and how they can hurt us. How we can really start to look at these, how they keep us stuck, how they free us, and really start to look at how we can start to shift. Because when you look at and notice the boundaries that you have or that you don't have, right there, that's when you start to have the clarity of mind of like, oh shit, I didn't even know this was a problem, or I didn't even know this was an issue, or I didn't even know this was an option. And so this month, all month long, we're going to be looking at boundaries. We're going to be looking at the status quo. We're going to be looking at our mindset. We're going to be looking at how we can create or dissolve boundaries that we have, that we've had, we don't have, and either create them or dissolve them and shift our mindset and put them in place so that when you do something new, or you do something in your life that you've always done, you can get a different result. How many times have you tried something and you don't get the result that you're looking for? So you try it again, you don't get the result, you try it again, you don't get the result, and you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. But all you have to do, instead of trying again in the same way, is shift ever so slightly, that little 1 degree, shift how you think about it or shift how you approach it, and then boom, try it, you're gonna see a different result. You're gonna see a different, what's the right word? You're gonna start to see evidence of your actions. So evidence is merely the result in real time, okay? So if you want my help with this, what I want you to do is I want you to click the link in my bio and or click the link in the comments or wherever it is that you're watching this, in the description below the video, and check out the 1 Degree Shift Tribe. And if you feel like this month is just, you're just like, you know what, I'm done not getting the results that I want. I'm done really not knowing how to articulate my boundaries to other people. I'm done with the self-imposed boundaries that I have in my head, and I'm done not getting results. And if you want to start getting clearer, faster results in your life, what I want you to do, and you want my help with it, what I want you to do is click the link in the bio, click the link in the description, in the comments, and join us inside the 1 Degree Shift Tribe. We are meeting tomorrow for our Lunch and Learn monthly theme kickoff, and we're doing a full workshop about this, and it's gonna be epic. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So click the link in the comments, join us, let me help you shift through your boundaries. Let me help you create a life that you're super excited about and you cannot wait to tell people all about it. But then more so, people are going to be stopping you saying, what are you doing differently? Why are you so happy? Like, what's going on here? Almost every single person who's inside of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe has had someone do this to them. They're just like, why are you so happy? Like, what's going on here? What are you doing? It's because they're willing to look at these little things. They're willing to be part of a community of people who hear them and see them and listen to them. Not judge them, but who support them in the life that they're creating. So click the link in the comments and I will see you inside of the 1 Degree Shift Tribe. Mwah! I love you. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. The links mentioned in today's podcast episode are in the show notes.